All right, welcome everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. My name is Laura Fonseca, and I'm the clinical director at Harmonic Changes. I'm going to be facilitating this month's conversation in Open Studio all around adapted music lessons and music therapy, what the similarities are, what the differences are, etc. That will be our topic for this evening. So we'll go ahead and jump right in. So again, that's me, Laura Fonseca, and we'll talk all about music therapy or adapted lessons, what is right for you. So just so we're familiar with the difference between them or how they're defined in general, let's start with just the definitions. What is music therapy? What are adapted lessons? So music therapy is the clinical and evidence-based use of music and music activities by a board-certified music therapist to support non-music goals in the context of a therapeutic relationship. So requires a certification, 1,200 clinical hours minimum, a degree in music therapy, to be able to practice music therapy. Adapted lessons is the implementation of clinical evidence-based knowledge to promote instrument learning for individuals who need different supports than may be offered in a traditional music setting. And they're often taught by music therapists, meaning that we're coming with all of the wonderful knowledge that we acquire as part of our education. So those are some general definitions. And then there's also a mix of both. So hybrid session, which would be a mix of music therapy techniques and strategies, as well as instrument learning to promote both music and non-music goals. So in general, when we're talking about music therapy, we're talking about promoting non-music goals through music. When we're talking about adapted lessons, we're talking about music goals that may also support some non-music skills, but the intention is really in learning an instrument or improving musicality or something that's very music-centric. Whereas in the music therapy space, we are using all of the wonderful ways that we know that music engages in the brain to promote a skill that is not musical through music as a tool. So some examples of music therapy goals might be to increase attention, to promote cognitive flexibility, to promote relaxation, and many, many other things. They fall under all categories. And these goal areas are, again, completely non-musical, and then we're using music to support something like attention, for example. In the adapted lessons space, we are really focusing in on learning an instrument, supporting musicality in some way. So our goal would be to learn a scale or to promote exploration on the piano or on the ukulele. Something that is very specific to learning an instrument or engaging in specifically expanding music knowledge. And while we're doing that, we may also tap into things like attention or cognitive flexibility or increasing engagement, but that isn't our main focus in the adapted lesson space. And then in hybrid sessions, it's a mix of both. So it might be to promote attention. And we know that when we promote attention, then our student will be able to better focus in on learning an instrument that they might be interested in learning. So we take the knowledge of music therapy and have a mix of goals that are specifically non-musical, as well as goals that are specifically musical, in order to promote learning an instrument while also supporting these other skills. But both are being given equal attention in the hybrid session space. So why might you choose music therapy? If you're interested in supporting specific non-music skills, music therapy is a wonderful option for you. If you're interested in a holistic approach to symptom management, behavior management, again, promoting any skill that is not specifically musical, music therapy is a great space for that. We can address so many things in the music therapy context through music, again, as a tool. And it's a really wonderful and engaging way to support your loved one in increasing their life skills. It could be their life skills, their ability to regulate, their coping skills, academic support, really anything that your loved one might be working on in any other therapy, speech language communication goals, social emotional expression, coping skills, regulation, motor skills, other sensory motor combination skills, cognitive skills, anything that you're really working on in any other therapeutic space, we can enter the music space and support those with music specifically. So taking elements of music like rhythm or pitch or melody and using them really intentionally to focus in on something like attention, for example. So we might use rhythmic exercise to promote attention, knowing that rhythm drives attention, patterns drive attention. So a rhythmic pattern together is a really strong way to support someone's attention. So we might intentionally take that rhythm, take that repetition, and use it to create an experience that is targeting attention for your loved one. And then scaffolding it, making it more challenging, trying it in different ways, and making adjustments to continue to promote attention in many different forms. All right, let's continue into our next space, which is why choose adapted lessons. So adapted lessons would be right for you if you're interested in learning a musical instrument, or if you're interested in an individualistic approach to music lessons. So again, in the music learning space, we're really focused on supporting learners who are who need additional support in a way that maybe a traditional lesson can't provide, by giving them the support they need in order to accomplish a music goal like learning a song on the piano or learning a song on the ukulele, playing chords, playing scales, even songwriting. That can also be music technology. So how everything, the purpose is to support a specific music goal, to sight read rhythms, all of these things. And so in learning music, we know that there are all these parts of our brain that are engaged, that in music therapy, we're leveraging that knowledge to promote the non-musical. In the adapted lesson space, we're leveraging that knowledge to support the musical and really focusing in on technique or on memorization or on even the fine motor skills. We're taking all of that information, everything that's a part of learning an instrument, and we're supporting it for the purpose of learning an instrument, not necessarily for the purpose of increasing attention or increasing expression. These might be byproducts, but they're not the sole focus in the adapted lesson space. And that leads into the hybrid session. So why might you choose a hybrid session? If you're interested in supporting non-musical skills through music and increasing an individual's musicality, that's a great space to be in. The hybrid space is also wonderful if you're interested in learning an instrument with specific time to focus on other necessary skills that you might need or your loved one might need in order to more successfully play that instrument. And I make this distinction from adapted lessons and the hybrid session specifically because when we're in a space where we know that we have the flexibility to pull back from learning just, let's say, the piano, when we know that we have this space to maybe take some time and incorporate music therapy intervention while also taking time in the same session space to learn songs, and we have a little bit of flexibility to move between those, that's a really nice space for individuals who want to have music skills, but also want to support the non-musical. So hybrid sessions are a really, really wonderful option if that's something that interests you, or if you notice that your loved one has a strong inclination for one specific instrument and they might want to learn how to play that. However, maybe they don't have the specific attention skills or the specific fine motor skills. And so we want to work up to being able to really engage with that instrument in a meaningful way for them. And so we kind of start in the music therapy space, supporting the skills that lead into instrument playing, with that specific focus of the progression from, we're using attention, and we know that the end goal is that we want to promote instrument learning. So everything is on the path to instrument learning, but with music therapy techniques infused with lesson techniques. So those are our 3 overall areas. So before we continue, I'd love to know, what are your questions about these 3 different spaces? So if you'd like to put them in the chat, I'll wait a few moments if anyone has questions before we continue. All right, it looks like we have a question here. If you advertise an adapted lesson, how would you explain to a potential client that you're not a music teacher? This is a great question, from the perspective of us being music therapists who are providing lessons. So we come in with this rich background from our education as music therapists, going through a program that really teaches us all of these different ways to use music to support behavior, to use music to promote motor skills, to promote cognitive skills. And so we come with that knowledge, and a music teacher is coming with very specific knowledge on how to play the instrument that they play extremely well, or any of the instruments that they teach. So they're coming with specific knowledge of how to teach that instrument, and not necessarily the information and knowledge of supporting neurodivergent, neurodiverse individuals, individuals who just need a different level of support than they're able to provide. So we come with this expertise, not only being musicians, because that's a part of our training as well. It is a degree in music, and then it has this attachment of all these wonderful other aspects. So we're coming into the space with a level of musicianship, as well as a knowledge of psychology, a knowledge of music neuroscience, a knowledge of humanistic or behavioral approaches. And we're coming into the space with that. And so that's very different than how a music teacher is going to enter the space. So I often will highlight just that is the expertise that we're coming in with, and how that's different, and how that supports an individual differently than a traditional music teacher or music lesson does. Thank you for your question. Are there any additional questions? Right, I'm not seeing any additional questions, so I just want to note that if you still have a question, please feel free to put it in the chat. And I'm going to just share that Harmonic Changes offers all three of these services. We offer individual and group music therapy services, and then we offer individual adapted lessons. And we also offer the hybrid sessions. So if that's something that you are interested in learning more about, you can always schedule a consultation with us. Our website also has a wonderful explanation of the differences, as well as some of the approaches that we specifically have for music therapy, and all of our team's diverse background that might include instruments that they teach, or how they enter the music therapy space and the music lesson space. I know for myself, I enter those spaces in a similar but different way, just knowing that, again, I'm entering with a different intention in the music therapy space than I am in the adapted lesson or even hybrid lesson space. So the way that I'm going to support the clients that I see is going to be a little bit different. There might be more or less flexibility depending on what we're doing and what our specific supports are, whether or not they're working towards a performance, if it's in the music lesson space. So there's a lot of richness that comes from any of these options, and our team wonderfully provides each and every one of these services. So if you're interested in learning more, we have here our social media. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. There's this wonderful QR code you can scan to take you to our social media quickly. We are also online. Here's our contact information. So this is our main email address and phone line, as well as our website. So if you are interested in any of these services, if you're interested in learning more about them as a potential client, you can connect with us there. If you're interested in learning more about actually providing the services, you can also connect with us if you're a clinician curious to learn more about how our team implements that, or looking for supervision in how to provide all of these services within your own practice. So please get in touch with us with any questions should they arise. And thank you very much for your time, attention, and energy on this Wednesday evening. I look forward to connecting with anyone who wants to learn more about any of these services. I'll give it just another couple minutes if anyone has any questions before we conclude. Well, thank you for your comment.